Okay, so today's project is going to be putting a new soft top on my 98 TJ. The old one was really bad. It was on the Jeep when we got it. We've had it for several years. It was ripping, was no longer keeping water out, typical TJ stuff. So, matter of fact, I've already gone ahead and cut the old one off. You can see there's some remnants of it still on the header bar. And I've got a new Quadratec soft top that we bought for it. Not the premium one, just kind of the basic one, but something good to help weatherproof this thing. We can put it back out in the yard, get it out of the shop. So I think to get started here, the first thing we need to do is finish taking the old one off the header bar. So that'll be where we begin. Okay, so I think to begin, the first thing we're going to do is finish taking off what's left of the original top. This was a best top, soft top that was put on here, like I said, before I bought it. So this is the only part that's really screwed and attached to the Jeep. The rest of it's Velcro and attachments. So the first thing we're going to do here is just take out these screws across the header bar and get rid of the best top one so we can pull out the new Quadratec one and get it started. So. One of the tricks, at least from what I've read on doing these soft top installs, is especially if you live somewhere cold, but even we're in Florida, there's no cold around. But I went ahead and unboxed this and laid it out in the sun this afternoon while we were doing other things so that the materials had time to kind of expand. If it's cold, it'll contract, or if in shipping, it kind of picks up some rolls and wrinkles. So you'll want to lay it out, let it get some sun, let it get some heat, and that should help us in the process of installing this instead of having to fight it. The way these are set up is there's a slit in the middle that kind of denotes the exact center. And then in the case of mine, there are two screws to the left and right of that center. So I went ahead and started with those. I'm going to try to work my way out. I've already got kind of the first three in. And you'll notice they just kind of progressively move further out. There are holes in the base as you go that you line up with the holes in the bracket. So it's actually going through this plastic piece, not just through the material. So what I'm doing is hitting dead center, trying to hit dead center between the stitching and hope that that'll line up correctly with the top. So for example, here's one here. I'm just kind of getting it where I think it should be. Starting with the center between the stitches, get the screw started, and then just make sure it hits the spot in the header bar and put it in. So my top, by the way, had 8 of these regular ones, and then the end ones have their 2 flathead screws that kind of go on the ends. So I set those to the side, and we'll get there as we go across. So.
You guys caught in that corner. Never mind.
There is a middle bracket that needs to lock in as we go. I guess it doesn't matter at this point. We just need to actually stop right here and put these screws in. What I ended up doing on this corner with the stitching is starting the screw through the material behind the stitch and then locating it so I could make sure it had as much material bite as possible. One thing I forgot to do was take I wasn't sure if I needed to reuse those best top rollers, roll out the rear window. You don't. So I'm gonna snap our top instead. Let me get the other side of it. Ready? Okay. Now that we have the rear snapped, we are going to go ahead and latch the header bar, just like always with the soft top. And again, this may be easier if you don't have the sun top in the way, but I like the sun top, so we're gonna. Our top evidently has shifted a little bit through all our mechanisms, so I just want to get over here so I can push it like that. And this will get easier as the top stretches to fit the Jeep a little bit. There we go. All right. Now, probably the hardest part of the whole thing, with the fronts attached, carefully pulling your bar, and you got to get the rear corners in. I'm probably going to need help for this. So I'll get my helpers to help me out. Just to put the side windows on. These have also been out in the sun. A couple tricks to this. I like to let the back of the Velcro try to hold it for me a little bit. But really, the two tricks are making sure the zipper's all the way forward. And I don't know if the instructions say this or not. I don't think ours did. But I always have to make sure that the side starts in the channel, at least on the sides first. I never have any luck lining up the zipper and zipping it and then coming back and doing that, because it never seems to want to snap in. So that's what kind of makes this the most difficult, in my opinion, is this part right here of keeping it in the channel zip it up. It's got these in, we'll latch. Bottom in, that. And if you have any wrinkles, the instructions say not to worry about it. They will work their way out in the sun.
Good.
All right. So the back window is a little tricky. This whole thing can be tricky with one person, but it's one set of double zippers. So you've really got to kind of get everything situated at the end. Feed it through. What I did is pop this first side off. For now, just so I can kind of get easier access to the zipper. Be careful because it's kind of caught between these two pieces of fabric, so it can be kind of a pain. And then once you have it, make sure it's all the way seated, and then start one of the zippers. Corners are the hardest part because they're round. And there you go. Now, you can now raise both sides and flop the thing. There you go. That is the soft top. Now, if you have full doors, you're done there. In our case, we have half doors. So, while I rarely use them, let's go ahead and get out our soft doors. So you've obviously seen better days. That was one of the reasons I really wanted to upgrade our top, is because we haven't used these windows since we bought the Jeep. So we'll get these out and get the old ones off. If they're factory, you have to cut them. Mine, like I said, are best tops. They're probably just going to unwrap, and then we will get the new ones put on.
Okay, so once you have the original soft window cut up from around the frame, this is kind of what you're left with, is these two metal frames for your half door upper windows. And this Quadratec soft top kit that I ordered came with a new set of uppers to put on them. So that would be the next step, is to lay those out and start putting the uppers on the frame.